On the Canary Island of Fuerteventura, the fastest surfers of the world gathered for the Peter Stuyvesant Travel World Speed and Slalom. Fuerteventura, famous for its strong and constant wind, is situated west from Morocco, North Africa. "62 competitors from 15 countries, among them the world speed record holder Pascal Maca, all came for one thing, the wind. A place like Sotavento on the island of Fuerteventura with its constant strong wind is therefore a perfect spot for pro surf races. The first day, the surfers came together for the skippers meeting and received their instructions from the event organizer, Julian Kendall.
Peter Stuyvesant Travel World Speed and Slalom here on Sotavento this year. Right, now what I'd like to do is introduce our event team to you. I think most of you already know them. We've got Nicola. This year, we're combining the speed and slalom due to the high winds this location creates. We're actually in one of the windiest spots in the world. And in 1986, we broke the world speed sailing record at this competition. As a result of this, we've built this event up to be one of the finest and largest contests worldwide. The slalom is raced in the morning in winds up to 30 knots, and in the afternoon, when the winds become stronger than this, we go over to the speed course. So we're looking for a very exciting event and anticipate a lot of action this year.
Speed, that's what it's all about during the Peter Stuyvesant Travel World Speed and Slalom. For those who don't know yet, the surfboard belongs to the fastest sailing craft in the world. Since 1986, the absolute speed record is no less than 72 kilometers an hour. This might not seem that fast, but even the fastest speedboat will have difficulty in keeping up with this speed. How fast do the surfers think they can go at Fuerteventura?
I can reach 44 knots.
At least 36.
43.4.
40 knots.
I think it's possible to break 40 knots.
35 point something knots.
35 knots.
Let's say 36 plus.
I don't know, the sky is the limit really.
I mean, I'd like to do 35 knots. 36.
I actually have a speed inside me or in my mind that I'd like to try and do something around 46 knots.
46 knots seems to us a bit optimistic. As yet, the Frenchman Pascal Maca may call himself the fastest man on the water at a speed of 72 kilometers an hour. This speed is measured on a track of 500 meters. The competitor tries to get his speed in the area before the starting point. Then he goes along the course at full speed. At the start as well as at the finish, there's a camera to measure the average speed. The surfer then goes round the course back to the start. With all these surfers on the course, some traffic control is absolutely no unnecessary luxury. The cameras are able, by means of a special adapter, to determine at 1/100th exactly how long it took the surfer to cover the 500 meters. A computer processes these data. On the scoreboard outside, the sail number and the speed time is shown. Usually, the surfer immediately goes for another run to improve his time. Pascal Maca, the world record holder, will of course do the utmost to stay the fastest. Which conditions, in his opinion, are necessary to surf the fastest time?
First of all, we need a flat course. That's the most important to go fast. And then we need a steady wind, around 35 knots.
In speed surfing, the right choice in rig is of the greatest importance. That's why Maca takes all his rigs for every different wind condition to the beach. As you know, the sail is the motor of the board. This is the Australian surfer Mal Wright. Does he think he will ever be the fastest man in the world?
Pascal Maca hasn't got a license on the record.
Mal Wright gained the second place in the world ranking list at the speed event in southern France earlier this year. How is he doing here in Sotavento?
6.0 is my best at the moment, but there's been a few guys that have done better than that today, so I'm hoping to improve on that later this afternoon when the wind picks up a little more.
On Fuerteventura, Mal Wright ended up 9th overall. Last year, the Englishman Eric Beale was still the second fastest surfer in the world. However, in speed trials at the beginning of 1988, he lost 3 places and came no further than the 5th place.
Well, hopefully I'll get some conditions because those three places represent people who've had better conditions that I myself has been able to find. So hopefully with some good conditions I'll be able to get back up in the ranking.
Eric Beale is an Englishman, and at the moment he lives in Italy, but he sails for England at Sotavento. On the second day of the event, he made a few excellent runs with a top speed of no less than 36.75 knots. That's 68 kilometers an hour. And this is Tony Breidveld from New Zealand. He gave up everything he had and bought himself a board and a rig with only one goal, to become the fastest man in the world. Before that, he had never been on a surfboard.
I've just started windsurfing 1 year now, and it's like a natural ability or gift from God that I have a fast speed on a board. So whichever man can be the fastest on the planet or on Earth, then he's got to be worth something.
With a fastest speed of 34.93 knots, Breidveld made a good showing at Sotavento. To surf insiders, this must be a familiar face. It's Bjorn Dunkerbeck. He is a famous World Cup surfer, and so is his sister Britt. They're both in this year for the world title. Speed surfing is to Bjorn a rather new discipline, but he also has the need for speed and is anxious to know how fast he can actually go. He has no pretension, though, of winning this part. Slalom is his specialty.
Sure, if you try to go as fast as you can, you want to beat the record, but I haven't done so much speed yet, so I think it's kind of hard to beat it on the second time.
Bjorn ended up 19th in the ranking. Britt, however, was the late female world record holder in speed surfing. She lost her title to Elizabeth Coquelle earlier this year.
Well, I was a little bit maybe disappointed for myself that I wasn't there and that I couldn't do anything about it. I was not happy. But on the other side, it's good that the ladies are going faster.
Britt Dunkerbeck was the fastest woman here at Sotavento with a speed of more than 33.65 knots. That's 62 kilometers an hour. She's not yet able to take the world title back from Coquelle. Here, in view with sail number 3. So this will remain at 34.4 knots. Is Britt her biggest rival?
Britt is very fast. And me too.
Coquelle ended up second at Sotavento. And this is Patty Whitcomb of Hawaii. Does she think the world record can be broken here?
If we get a day that's anywhere close to what we had in '86, with all of the equipment changes and all of the sailors fine-tuning that's taken place, I think 40 knots for the men is no problem. And it's going to be a fight for the men and women alike because everybody looks really good.
Patty's fastest speed was 32.76 knots. That's 60.67 kilometers an hour. This is Paula Wickens from the UK. Does Paula think she can beat records here? For example, the British national record.
If anyone else can do it, I think I can do it.
Paula indeed succeeds in putting up a new British record for women with a speed of 32.03 knots. That's 59.31 kilometers an hour. Wind is, of course, for speed surfing, one of the most important factors. That's why these kinds of competitions are held on windy but often far-off spots like Fuerteventura. Fuerteventura is an oblong island with a lot of mountains. These mountains press the wind apart, which causes a low-pressure area. The strong wind caused by the low pressure is sucked between the mountains, exactly at Sotavento. This wind can develop such an enormous power that it is sometimes even too much for the best surfers in the world. And that's saying a good deal. The boards used for these competitions are light and relatively long and small. That's why they also call them pins. The purpose is to get as little resistance as possible with the water. The less resistance, the less friction, and the more speed. It seems incredible that you can go so fast on such a small board, and this is only with wind power. Similar boards are specially developed for these competitions, but there is also a separate ranking for production boards, boards that are usually for sale in every surf shop. Here is Michael Pucker of Austria. On the first day of the event, he tries to assault the world speed record for production boards, and that's where he succeeds with a speed of 35.1 knots.
I did the first run and it was 34. That's over the world record. I was very happy about it. So I did the next one with 35.5. That was the fastest on time now. So I'm really happy and I wait for more wind.
The old world record was on the name of Dieter Bechter from West Germany. On the second day, he succeeds in taking it back from Pucker. Here, he achieves a speed of no less than 35.28 knots. That's 65.33 kilometers an hour. And here it is, the production board, generally for sale in every surf shop. And this is Michael Pucker again, who goes all out to take his brand new record back again. And he succeeds and sets the new world record for production boards with 35.61 knots.
Sure, but I'm happy now with the production 36.2 because that's over the speed record for overalls for the sailboat, so that's okay, I find.
The biggest curiosity during this speed event was the Tridom from the UK. Can you go faster with 3 sails than just one?
Well, we've done plenty of sailing on solo boards, but when you get on a big machine like this, real power, you've got 2 guys behind you, you're all pulling together, it's just a much greater sort of experience, you know. All the thrill of sailing a solo board and the weight and the strength of a big board, it's just something more.
Is it dangerous to surf on such a Tridom?
Oh, no, it's not dangerous. I mean, you've got to be careful, but you have to have a lot. I'm on the front. I have to know that the guy behind me is going to sort of not bail out over me, and he's got to rely on the back.
And such a spectacular crash is, of course, worth a picture. This is Pascal Maka. At first, he had difficulty in starting up, but eventually he proved to be the fastest surfer of the event. His fastest speed, 37.14 knots. That's 68.78 kilometers an hour. Maka will stay world record holder.
Yeah, because yesterday I had some trouble. The wind was very unstable, so I could not catch a good gust. And this morning I woke up very early and I went in the container to work on my equipment. And then this morning I was ready, the first to start on the course. And now I did a good time.
At Sotavento, Eric Beal managed to get hold of the second place on the ranking list again. His fastest speed, 36.75 knots, 68.06 kilometers an hour. Third, the American Kirk Darrow. His speed, 36.55 knots, 67.69 kilometers an hour. And with a speed of 36.38 knots, or 67.37 kilometers an hour, Doug Bischoff from the USA eventually ended 4th. Another American, Fred Haywood, with 36.09 knots, or 66.83 kilometers an hour, good for a 5th place finish in the ranking list. Number 6, the Australian Peter Dans. The Frenchman Jean-Pierre Ciré was 7th. And in 8th place, also a Frenchman, Thierry Bilac. The fastest woman at Sotavento, as mentioned, Britt Dunkerbeck with 33.65 knots, or 62.31 kilometers an hour. Look at her incredibly smooth style. Followed by world record holder Elizabeth Coquelle from France. She'll remain, also after Sotavento, the fastest woman. Third was Patty Whitcomb from Hawaii. In 4th place, Paula Wickens from the UK, but she could go home contentedly with a new British record. Not only windsurfers, but also tourists discover the lovely climate of Fuerteventura. Always sunny and with a nice cool wind. And if the weather is too hot, you just take a refreshing dip into the pool of one of the many hotels on the island. By the way, the climate of Fuerteventura is also perfect to pursue all kinds of other water sports. For example, catamaran sailing. But the fact that Fuerteventura is also a real surf paradise is shown here by Bjorn Dunkerbeck in a brilliant demonstration in wave performance. This is an official World Cup discipline. Together with Robbie Nash, Bjorn Dunkerbeck belongs to the absolute top in the World Cup. He makes breathtaking jumps. Let's see him in slow motion. Bjorn Dunkerbeck here prepares his boards for the second part of the Peter Stuyvesant World Speed and Slalom, the slalom discipline. Dunkerbeck lives on the Canary Islands, has a Danish mother, a Dutch father, has a Dutch passport, but sails for Spain. In these slalom races, there are always 10 competitors at the start. They must surf a figure-8 course around buoys placed into the sea. During the whole event, qualifying rounds were held in so-called elimination series. Pascal Maka also participates in the slalom discipline. At last, a group of 10 finalists remained who will have to battle it out in the 4 final heats. And the finalists are, of course, Bjorn Dunkerbeck from Spain. Also, Pascal Maka made it to the finals. The Spanish Stefan Alian. Mark Wood from the UK. Michael Pulcher, we've seen him before. The Frenchman Jean-Pierre Siret. Roddy Lewis from the US. Dave Perks. Bernard Niz, also from Spain. And at last, Nino Navarro. And they're off. Immediately on top, Bjorn Dunkerbeck with sail number E7. Here, rounding the first buoy in the first position, Bjorn Dunkerbeck, followed by Mark Wood. Here, Bjorn still in the lead, rounding the second buoy. Watch Mark Wood with sail number 3. He jumps and falls. And that causes a great gap between Bjorn and the rest. Can he still be beaten? And while other competitors still have to round the second buoy, Bjorn is heading for the finish. And the winner of this heat is, of course, Bjorn Dunkerbeck. With his World Cup experience, he seems unbeatable.
Bjorn, changing rigs for the last race?
Yeah, I had 2 big sail because I didn't bring any smaller than 4.6. And now the breeze finished, I can use a 4.0, so hope to go better now.
Okay, and what do you think your chances of winning the event?
If I win now, good chances.
What do you need? Is it a first place?
I'm not quite sure, but yeah, first place would probably help more than second.
Here, Bjorn with his sister's sail on his way to the start of the last heat. What does Pascal Maka think of his chances?
think if I win the last heat and if Björn does not do second or first, I can win the slalom. I still have a hope.
And they're off for the final heat. Here, Pascal Maka in the first position. After 3 heats, the difference between the surfers is very small. Maka is the first one to round the first buoy, together with number 3, Mark Wood. But where is Bjorn? He seems to get in among the crowd, but he manages to round the buoy in 4th position. Bjorn now in 3rd position, heading for the second buoy. And look what's happened here. Frontrunner Pascal Maka falls. Bjorn takes over 2nd position after Mark Wood. What an exciting final. Let's see what happens here. Bjorn actually managed to get past Mark Wood. And that means that he's in 1st position again. Here, Maka with F11 in 4th position. He fights like a lion, but the gap between him and Bjorn is too big. And nothing seems to stop Bjorn from winning the slalom discipline of the Peter Stuyvesant Travel World Speed and Slalom. As we mentioned before, slalom is his specialty. Also, after the slalom finals, the speed trials were still going on. Despite the strong winds, the high waves made it impossible to break the new record set here at Sotavento. But Bjorn Dunkerbeck, together with the eccentric American surfer, who's also a movie star, Laird Hamilton, know exactly what to do with a wave. They both gave a spectacular show at Sotavento.